The long days of a western Washington summer generally mean 3 months of carefree time at the beach, swimming, picnicking, and enjoying outdoor fun. But this year there's deep concern, and not just over the record-breaking number of days with temperatures over 90 degrees, but for the effects that a so-called blob of warm water is having on Puget Sound.
We've been sitting on this water now for half a year. It doesn't flush out because we have a drought, and so the rivers don't help to renew the water in Puget Sound. So what that does is basically it allows accumulation of pollutants, like nutrients that gives rise to algae blooms. So we see a lot of macroalgae floating at the surface like seaweed.
Scientists say the blob formed in late 2013 and was fully developed by 2014 and is about half the size of the United States. They say its effects on Puget Sound could be devastating.
Warmer seawater is less dense, and it doesn't have the ability to flush out last year's water. And so that becomes really important when you get down to southern Hood Canal, because the water, the deep waters, lose their oxygen over the course of the season, and we rely on that annual flushing to bring in the new waters that have a higher oxygen content, a higher pH content, and we didn't have that process happening.
The blob of warm water has raised temperatures in the Sound 4 degrees Fahrenheit higher than what it is normally. And along with the warmer waters, scientists say there's been an increase in harmful algae blooms, shellfish closures, lower dissolved oxygen levels, and unfavorable conditions for salmon and other cold water species of sea life.
There's concern about the adults that are trying to enter freshwater to spawn, basically not making it, getting too warm, having these physiological effects, and increased pre-spawning mortality. And so there may be a lot fewer adult spawning, so a lot fewer juveniles coming out in the next 1 to 2 years.
One area of concern is in the Hood Canal region of Puget Sound, where scientists say the oxygen count is extremely low because waters did not thoroughly flush last year due to depleted snowpack from the current drought, which caused low cold water flows in rivers that feed the Sound. Mix that in with unusually warm and sunny days, and you have a recipe for unprecedented environmental damage.
So right now in Hood Canal, at the bottom near the seabed, near Toano, the oxygen concentration is essentially zero. And around the corner in Hoodsport, we have a 300 feet, 100 meters, 300 foot thick layer of water that only has 1 milligram per liter of oxygen in it. And so we're concerned that as the season goes on and the new oceanic water comes in, that water can rise to the surface and cause fish kills.
Scientists say that the blob isn't affecting humans in a big way, but it could still have an effect on the fishing industry and how we get some of our food.
The Upper Columbia sockeye fishery is a really big fishery, and it's usually a really healthy stock, and we've had to curtail, potentially close some of those fisheries, which is really disappointing for a lot of people.
Experts predict that this massive amount of warm water will be around through 2016, which could add to a double dose of trouble as this fall, El Nino, which is the natural warming of the Pacific Ocean's waters from the equator, is expected to take place.
All of our climate models, and this is absolutely all of them, are showing that those warm waters are going to continue into 2016. They could even be reinforced a little bit right along the coast by the El Nino that's in place right now and the weather patterns that we typically get with that. And so the blob is here to stay for a while, at least into 2016. After that, it's hard to say. It kind of depends on what the weather does.
For Northwest Now, I'm Chris Anderson.